Hey, today's a good day because today I got my blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it was just awesome because, I got to roll with like 40, 50 people. And everybody came up to me afterwards and was expressing happiness and all that kind of stuff. And I was just really thankful for all my training partners showing up today. Got my blue belt, and I've been training for like 2 years for this. So it was a great day. But today what I want to talk about is food. And the reason I want to is because, we just had this tournament, the Atlanta Open, recently. And for me, that was my motivation to stay fit because I was trying to make a weight class, so the tournament came and gone. And now that motivation has gone away because first thing you do after the tournament is like you go pig out because you've been cutting weight for so long. And so I did that, a couple days go by. Hey, it's no big deal. You don't have to make weight for anything or whatever. It's like keep eating bad, and so for me, like what I've noticed is this will go on. This behavior will go on. The minute you make the first exception, if you haven't already established your discipline and your habits and your routine and all this kind of stuff, it's like that behavior will go on and on and on and on until you get to that point where you just make the sacrifice. So it's like in the moment when you want the food, until you say no on purpose when you really, really want it, it's like you'll just keep that behavior up of like bad eating or whatever. At least that's how I work. I don't know if other people work like that, but anyway. So I noticed that, and so my motivation to be fit, which is the tournament, is gone. And I guess for single people it's different because if you're single, you're trying to be attractive or whatever, and or maybe more so than somebody who isn't, and so maybe that's a motivation. But like in my case, it's like. Once the tournament's gone, that's like a big motivation thing that's gone away. But I know I don't want to look bad, So this thing's been on my mind. And so my particular struggle, because I think what happens is anytime that we feel bad as people, we try to medicate. So for some people, it's video games, TV, beer, drugs, gambling, stuff like this. And for my, I've never really been hooked. As a kid, I was hooked on video games or whatever. I've had periods of being hooked on TV, but like my particular struggle is food because I just gravitate towards that. Like if I feel bad, it makes me feel better right away. And that's just kind of what it does, And so it's just a bad habit to have. I think that there's positive habits to replace with that, and I still need to experiment in my life with like replacing bad habits with like positive habits. And then building them into your subconscious where it's like anytime you feel bad, you just go do something that's good and then you feel better, So I think that's a cool thing, but I can't really speak from experience with that. So kind of the thing is about all this is that, so long ago, my wife was doing the Whole30 challenge, which is where for 30 days, you get rid of like all the bread, all the sugar, and you just eat clean for like 30 days. And one of the ladies that came up with that program, Melissa Hartwig, she had a video on YouTube that I was watching, and she talked about basically her history as a drug addict. And she went through, the ups and downs and explained her background. And then she said, like, okay, guys, like, do you understand why, this Whole30 eating challenge that I've come up with, like, do you understand why the rules are the way that they are? And it clicked with me. It's like, oh, like this chick was a drug addict and she created this eating program, which is kind of like a detoxification kind of a deal, and a clean eating challenge, because as she says, food is a drug. So that's the whole concept of this video. It's like the way food is right now, the stuff that's, that you crave, that's easy to get, the stuff that you gravitate towards to, that I gravitate towards to, is a drug. And I say this because I think that, if you can change your mindset, if I can change my mindset, and I'm talking to me largely here, I do these things for me too. And, if you can change your thinking to like food is a drug and treat it like that, then you're going to be way more careful. Like say, for example, in this case for me, tournament's over, I want some food, and it's like, it's time to have a cheat meal or whatever. It's like, be careful, and don't just go willy-nilly. It's like, moderate it, and there's a lot of people out there that, have conquered this problem. They have the right habits, but like in my case, it's something I still need to conquer. And it's been on my mind too, because, so I have this the personal development YouTube channel here. And I think to myself, how can I be the best role model for people? Hopefully people watch these videos and they want to change their lives for the better, to have a better quality of life. And it's like, are you going to listen to the guy that's in shape or not? I mean, it's not the be all end all. There's plenty of self-help people who maybe like aren't in the peak physical condition, but it's like, what's the first thing you see when you look at somebody, And that's not to say everybody needs to meet that standard, but it's a standard that I have for myself, and especially running a channel like this, it's something I really want to get on top of, and it's been like my number one challenge. So anyway, there's lots of reasons to get on top of this, just aside from like aesthetics, right? Because there's a guy I listen to on YouTube. His name's Owen Cook, and he runs Real Social Dynamics, and this guy's a freaking genius. And I watch it because it's like a pickup artist show, and I'm married or whatever. I watch it because this guy has just really cool, like, nuanced tips on like how to socialize, which is information that is good for me, because I never grew up, like having like a large social circle or anything like that. So as an adult, wanting to understand how that stuff works, not having the experience, it's cool to learn from this guy. But the reason I'm bringing him up is because, so this is a guy that I view as very intelligent, very thorough and meticulous. He recommended a book called The Ultra Mind Solution by Dr. Mark Hyman. Dr. Mark Hyman runs the Functional Institute of Medicine at the Cleveland Clinic, which is one of the premier hospitals in the country. And, he puts out awesome stuff. I read the book, Ultra Mind Solution. I suggest that you read it also. So in reading that book, it got me thinking about how important this whole health thing is. And I'll get back to that in a minute. I'm kind of bouncing around a lot, but this is all good stuff, So my wife last night was playing this guy, Dr. Axe, who is, he's got all this information on he's like an anti-leaky gut guy. So leaky gut is when you eat a bunch of gluten or something, and it basically escapes your intestines, gets into the bloodstream without having been processed. And what that does is it causes autoimmune disease. It causes all kinds of stuff, all kinds of problems that are common in today, in the medical landscape today. And so I was watching that, and basically he's saying, heal your gut, heal your gut. All these problems that everybody's having start in the gut. He's saying something like, he threw out a stat last night. I can't remember what it was. It was like 90% of so many issues are all due to gut health. So it's like, if you start there, you heal that, your quality of life will be so much better. And so I was watching that, and I thought back to an article I saw by Dr. Mark Hyman, in my Facebook feed. He was just talking about 7 signs of an unhealthy gut. Stomach doesn't feel right. If you have food or sugar cravings, your scale's fluctuating, you have anxiety or depression, you're not sleeping well, if you have skin problems or autoimmune conditions. So these are all signs of an unhealthy gut. And some of those rang true to me, like the sleep thing, and then, I experienced a lot of anxiety, stuff like that. And I got off coffee, and that's helped. But, between watching the Dr. Axe stuff, which I'm going to subscribe to, I suggest you also, and the Dr. Hyman stuff, I'm just like, man, there's so many benefits to healing your gut, to having good health, but starting with healing your gut. And, probiotics, the yogurt, and I guess sauerkraut, and there's a lot of other stuff that that will help to heal your gut, but primarily ditching the grains and eating fruits and vegetables and like meats and stuff like that. But it's a track that I want to get started on. So and I think it all, again, I've been bouncing around a lot, but I think it all just it goes back to treating food, at least the processed foods and all the stuff with the sugar and all this kind of stuff, as a drug. You got to be careful with it, and then go back to the stuff that's healthy. It's like when you go through these periods of eating healthy, the quality of life is it's so different than just like kind of just like the easy thing to do. So eating like the easy foods or whatever, and the way that you feel when you're just kind of doing it the easy way versus having the discipline, eating the good foods and stuff like that. That difference is just so stark. And because I've had periods of intense discipline with food, and then periods of intense indiscipline. And so right now I'm just at that fork in the road. It's like, okay, I'm going to go back in this healthy eating direction. And so I just want to share that with you, because I don't know if anybody's ever, framed it like that. It's like, hey, man, food is a drug. Be careful with it. There's reasons beyond aesthetics or whatever to get healthy. And, and I just feel like if you do, it's going to be awesome for you. And I'm looking forward to myself. And the last thing is, I just think that maybe start with the gut stuff. So get on the probiotic, get on the prebiotic, and, all those healthy foods, ditch the unhealthy stuff, and start from there and just see how you feel, after that. So, don't close out of this video without leaving a comment. Tell me, what you think about all this. Tell me what foods you think are important, to make this happen, what foods you think are important to ditch. If you have sources that are, in addition to what I've said in the video, leave a comment. Also, like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.